Stop. Don't let confusing TV specs and marketing hype trick you into making an expensive mistake. Today, we're cutting through the jargon to reveal the few TV features that actually matter for movies, gaming, and everyday viewing. Stay until the end, and you'll know exactly what to look for when choosing your next TV in 2026. If this video helps you avoid overpaying, make sure to like and subscribe for more honest TV breakdowns. And comment below, do you watch TV in a bright room or a dark cinema setup? That one detail changes everything. The most important spec is your room. Before you even start comparing TV brands, screen sizes, or flashy specifications, there's one factor that can completely change how your new TV looks: your room. You can spend thousands on a premium television, but if it's positioned badly or fighting direct sunlight all day, you may never see what that TV is actually capable of. That's why the smartest TV purchase starts with your environment, not the spec sheet. First, get the height and placement right. Ideally, the center of the screen should be roughly at eye level when you're comfortably seated on your couch. For many setups, that means the center of the TV ends up around 42 inches from the floor, although your actual seating position matters more than any fixed number. And this is why mounting a TV ridiculously high above a fireplace can be a mistake. Looking upward for hours can become uncomfortable, and depending on the panel, viewing from an extreme angle can also affect perceived contrast and color. Next comes one of the biggest enemies of picture quality: glare. Take a look at your room during the brightest part of the day and notice where sunlight enters. If a large window sits directly opposite your TV, even an excellent screen can struggle when sunlight hits it. You essentially have two solutions: control the light with curtains or blinds, or choose a TV with enough brightness and strong reflection handling to fight the environment. Brightness is measured in nits, and for a genuinely bright living room, this specification can matter far more than another marketing feature. Finally, consider your viewing distance before deciding on screen size. A 4K TV is designed to give you enough detail that you can sit relatively close and enjoy an immersive image, but the ideal distance depends on both screen size and personal preference. For a 6.5-inch TV, roughly 5.5 to 8 feet can be a useful starting range, but don't treat that as an absolute rule. The goal is simple. Sit close enough to appreciate the detail without feeling overwhelmed. Get your placement, lighting, and distance right, and you can dramatically improve your viewing experience before spending a single extra dollar on features. Why your TV sound usually disappoints. Now let's talk about the part of the TV experience that shoppers often completely forget: sound. You can have an incredible 4K or OLED display showing beautiful movies, sports, and games, but if the built-in speakers sound thin and lifeless, the entire experience can feel underwhelming. And unfortunately, there's a simple reason for this. Modern TVs have become incredibly thin, while good speakers still need physical space to move air. The problem becomes especially obvious with dialogue and bass. Tiny speakers squeezed into a thin television chassis simply don't have the room to produce the depth and fullness you get from a proper audio system. Voices can sound weak, background music can lack detail, and explosions or action sequences can feel almost weightless. The picture might look like a home theater, but the audio can sound more like a cheap laptop. That's not necessarily because the TV is poorly designed, it's largely a limitation of physics. Your room acoustics can make the situation even better or worse. Rooms filled with hardwood floors, bare walls, large windows, and other hard surfaces can create reflections that make dialogue sound less clear and create an unpleasant echo. Soft furnishings can help more than people realize. A rug, curtains, fabric furniture, and even decorative cushions can absorb some of those reflections and make the built-in speakers sound cleaner without changing the television itself. But here's the important point. Don't automatically expect a TV to replace a soundbar. If cinematic sound matters to you, consider the audio system part of your TV budget from the beginning. Even an affordable soundbar can provide clearer dialogue, stronger bass, and a much wider soundstage than most built-in speakers. And if you absolutely don't want additional equipment, pay close attention to reviews that specifically test the TV's built-in audio, because one of the TVs we're looking at later stands out by delivering significantly stronger sound than you normally expect at its price. Number 1. The solid baseline. Hisense U6N. Now that we know how much your room and audio setup can affect the experience, let's get into the actual contenders. The first TV is the Hisense U6N. And think of this one as the benchmark for what a genuinely good budget TV should deliver. It may not have the prestige or extreme performance of a flagship model, but its combination of mini LED technology, strong contrast, vibrant color, and an affordable price makes it a surprisingly capable choice for everyday viewing. The biggest reason the U6N stands out is its mini LED backlight and local dimming. Instead of relying on a small number of large LEDs, mini LED uses thousands of much smaller light sources that can be controlled across multiple dimming zones. That gives the TV considerably better control over bright and dark areas of the image. Add its QLED color technology into the mix, and you get richer colors and stronger contrast than you would normally expect from a basic budget television. It's the kind of upgrade you'll notice immediately when coming from an older 1080p or entry-level LED TV. But there is an important limitation: brightness. The U6N is bright enough for most normal living rooms, but it isn't designed to overpower a room filled with direct sunlight. If you have huge windows facing the screen, you'll probably want something more powerful. Its reflection handling is also fairly average, while the built-in speakers are acceptable for casual viewing, but aren't going to deliver the deep, cinematic sound you'd get from a dedicated soundbar. In other words, this TV is strong across the board, but it isn't designed to dominate in every category. There's also one detail you absolutely need to check before buying. The operating system can vary by market or specific version. Depending on the region and model, you may encounter Google TV, Fire TV, or another platform. Google TV gives you a broad app selection and an easy-to-use interface, while other versions can offer a different experience. So always verify the exact model you're purchasing rather than assuming every U6N has identical software. For someone upgrading from an older television and looking for a major picture quality improvement without jumping into premium pricing, the Hisense U6N remains a very compelling starting point. Number 2. The Audio Upgrade. TCL QM6K. Now we move to the second contender, and this one solves a problem that most budget TVs simply ignore: sound quality. The TCL QM6K is built around the same basic idea that made the Hisense U6N attractive mini LED backlighting, quantum dot color, and strong contrast, but it takes a different approach to the overall experience. Instead of focusing only on picture specifications, TCL puts extra attention on the audio system, making this TV especially interesting for buyers who don't want to immediately add a separate soundbar. The biggest surprise here is the built-in sound system. TCL has partnered with Onkyo to give the QM6K a more substantial audio setup than you normally expect from a thin, affordable TV. The system includes a 2-1 channel configuration with a dedicated bass component, giving dialogue more presence and action scenes more weight. No, it isn't going to replace a serious surround sound system, but that's not really the point. The advantage is that you get noticeably fuller sound straight from the TV, without filling your room with extra speakers and cables. Picture quality is still a major part of the package. The QM6K uses mini LED technology and QLED color, giving it the kind of contrast and color performance that makes movies, sports, and streaming content look far more impressive than a basic LED television. Its local dimming system also helps control the bright areas of an image while keeping darker scenes more convincing. That means you're not sacrificing picture quality just to get better sound. Instead, you're getting a more balanced, all-in-one package that makes sense for everyday viewing. And that's exactly who I think should consider the TCL QM6K. If you're furnishing an apartment, bedroom, or smaller living room and don't want a separate soundbar, this TV makes a lot of sense. It isn't necessarily the brightest option in this price category, so someone with direct sunlight hitting the screen may prefer a brighter competitor. But if your priorities are strong picture quality, better than average built-in audio, and a clean setup with less equipment clutter, the QM6K becomes a very compelling choice. And now, let's move to the final contender, the one built to attack the biggest weakness of budget TVs: brightness. Number 3. The Bright Room Brawler Hisense U65 QF. Now we reach the third contender, and this is where things get serious if your biggest TV problem is brightness. The Hisense U65 QF is positioned as the kind of TV that can deliver far more picture impact than its price would suggest, particularly in rooms where sunlight and ambient lighting make ordinary budget TVs look dull. The important thing isn't simply the model name, though look for the combination of mini LED, QLED color, strong local dimming, high brightness, and a high refresh rate when comparing current models. Hisense's 2026 U7 lineup, for example, is specifically positioned around mini LED performance, brightness, sports, and gaming. Sight-turn zero search 4. The biggest weapon here is brightness. A brighter TV can make a dramatic difference when you're watching during the afternoon, especially with windows or strong ambient light in the room. Hisense's current U7 models emphasize thousands of mini LEDs, local dimming, and high-impact brightness, while recent U7 specifications have included 144 Hz class refresh rates and strong HDR support. And that's exactly why this type of TV makes sense for sports and HDR movies. Bright highlights have more impact, colors remain more visible in a well-lit room, and the picture is less likely to look washed out. Gaming is another major reason this contender deserves attention. A high refresh rate can make fast movement feel considerably smoother, while features such as VRR and OLEDTV help reduce tearing and input lag. Current Hisense U7 models offer gaming-focused features including high refresh rate VRR, FreeSync Premium Pro, and HDMI 2.1 connectivity on applicable models. For someone using a modern console or gaming PC, that means you aren't simply buying a bright movie TV, you're getting a display designed to handle fast-paced gameplay as well. But there are still compromises, and this is where you need to be realistic. Depending on the exact 2026 model and region, the smart TV platform, brightness, refresh rate, and other specifications can vary, so check the exact model number before buying. Hisense's current U7 lineup, for example, spans different configurations and platforms. And while mini LED can produce excellent contrast, it still isn't the same as OLED's pixel-level black control, so some blooming can remain in difficult dark scenes. But if your priorities are bright room performance, HDR impact, smooth gaming, and maximum picture performance for the money, this is the contender that deserves the closest look. Which one should you buy? Now we've reached the question that actually matters. Which of these three TVs should you buy? There isn't one universal winner, because the best TV depends on what your room, budget, and viewing habits demand. The Hisense U6N, TCL QM6K, and Hisense U7 class models are all built around the same basic goal, delivering more picture performance for less money, but they approach that goal in very different ways. If you want the best starting point for modern TV technology, the Hisense U6N is the easy choice from this group. Its mini LED backlight, local dimming, and quantum dot color give you a significant step up from a basic LED TV without forcing you into premium pricing. It's especially attractive for someone upgrading from an older 1080p television and simply wants better contrast, richer color, and a more modern smart TV experience. Just remember that current Hisense U6, U7 offerings vary by exact model and platform, so always verify the version you're buying. If your priority is better built-in sound and a cleaner setup, the TCL QM6K becomes extremely interesting. Its QD Mini LED display combines local dimming and high HDR brightness with an Onkyo 2.1 audio system, while TCL lists a native 144 Hz panel, VRR support, 4 HDMI inputs, and Google TV. That makes it particularly appealing for an apartment, bedroom, or living room where you don't want to immediately add a soundbar. You're essentially getting a more complete entertainment package in one device. But if your biggest problem is a bright room, aggressive glare, HDR performance, or gaming, the U7 class Hisense is the one I'd look at most closely. Hisense's 2026 U7 lineup is specifically positioned around high-impact brightness, mini LED precision, sports, and gaming, with current U7 models offering features such as high refresh rates and advanced glare reduction. One current U7 SF model is rated by Hisense at up to 3000 nits peak brightness. So the simple decision is U6 for balanced value, QM6K for picture plus sound convenience, and U7 for maximum performance in bright rooms and gaming. The final conclusion. At this point, you should have a much clearer idea of why simply asking, "What's the best budget TV?" isn't really the right question. The better question is, what is the best budget TV for the way I actually use my room? A TV like the Hisense U6N gives you mini LED, QLED color, local dimming, and Google TV in a value-focused package, making it a strong choice for everyday viewing. But if your room has unusual demands, another model may make much more sense.